In the morning, he finds Melanie seated at the kitchen table, her chin lowered to her chest while her mother talks to her. Daddy thinks you ought to go outdoors and play games, Melanie, Mrs. Patton says as she cooks eggs. You have such a bad color. You are not sick, are you, dear? Melanie does not raise her chin or answer. Arun, finding it too late to retreat, tries to pour himself some milk and cereal as quietly and unobtrusively as he can. In the morning, he finds Melanie seated at the kitchen table, her chin lowered to her chest, while her mother talks to her. Daddy thinks you ought to go outdoors and play games, Melanie, Mrs. Patton says as she cooks eggs. You have such a bad color. You are not sick, are you, dear? Melanie does not raise her chin or answer. Arun, finding it too late to retreat, tries to pour himself some milk and cereal as quietly and unobtrusively as he can. He sits down to eat it, painfully aware of the crunch and crackle, wondering if he could grasp the moment and tell Mrs. Patton that Melanie is sick all the time, that Melanie spends her day vomiting in the bathroom. Melanie's face across the table looks like blotting paper that has soaked up as much water as it can cope. It is blotchy and discolored. It sucks. Does Mrs. Patton not see? Mrs. Patton brings the saucepan of eggs across the table. She starts spooning it out onto Melanie's plate, saying, just plain scrambled eggs, dear. They'll do you good. When Melanie violently pushes the plate away, gets to her feet and begins to cry. Why, Melanie dear? I hate scrambled eggs. Why don't you ask me what I want? Why can't you make me what I want? What do you think we all are? Garbage bags you keep stuffing and stuffing? Melanie, Mrs. Patton is scandalized. All I'm doing is asking you to eat a little scrambled egg. I won't eat anything you cook. You can give it to the cat, or give it to him. She points dramatically at Arun. I'm not going to eat any of that poison. Everything you cook is poison. She howls and blunders out of the room, leaving her mother white with amazement. Aaron sits frozen in his chair. It does not seem right to continue with his breakfast, but after a moment, Mrs. Patton gives a little shaken laugh and says, Poison! Did you hear that? What's gotten into her? What can she mean? My family is just so strange. Now, you'd never say that, Arun. You know, it's nothing of the sort. He has no alternative then but to eat. A little later, she is jingling the car keys. Arun, she calls up the stairs. It's shopping time. He comes out on the landing and holds onto the banister, looking down at the gravely. Mrs. Patton, he says, I think we should finish the food in the freezer first. She stared at him in astonishment. Finish the food in the freezer? She repeats. What an idea! Why ever should we do that? What would we do in an emergency? Come on, off we go. She sings, rattling the keys more loudly, in a manner undeniably peremptory. The white Honda Civic carries them smoothly over the trail of that tar that lies melting in the blaze of the summer sun. The suburban houses with their screened porches on which old men sit dozing, their yards mowed by tirelessly vigilant powers, lawn mowers, the booth of flowers and vegetables that bear cryptic signs, moms and cooks, the garage overflowing with old furniture and obsolete garden equipment, give way to fields of wild flowers, streaks of yellow, crimson, orange, hot vivid colors bowing it with grasses, and corn, ripe and glittering, a gunmetal blue in the hot noonlight, all the way to the horizon where the forest stands a solid blueback. Aaron still finds it disconcerting to find in this setting the sparkling car park of the shopping mall into which Mrs. Patton glides with accustomed ease. She parks the car amongst all the others that lie roasting in the sun, and leads the way into the baby lawn of plastic plants. Fontaine contained recycling water, artificial odors of vanilla, chocolate, children in strollers stupefied with ice cream and candy, and old people slumped on benches as if gloomily waiting for the show to begin. Supporting her and following her with her bags. She seems tense, make errors, cannot remember where the aisles of socks and stocking is. Then forget Rod's size. When they enter the food mark, she relaxes. It is as if she has come home. She tosses packet and cartoons into the shopping cart light-heartedly. It is Arun who grows tense, finds his throat muscles contracting, tied with anxiety over spending so much, having so much, wondering if it is how Melanie feels and if it is what makes her sick. He tries to persuade Mrs. Platoon to put back a cartoon of ice cream from which she is reading off the label with a chuckle. Our ice cream is the best ice cream. We know because we made it. She is giggling, but when Aru's trying to take it out of her hands and put it back, I want it, she cries, snatching it back. It's Chunky Monkey, my favorite. At the checkout counter, he waits beside her while she lifts through a magazine full of pictures of pregnant startless, babies born with two heads, and prisoner of death row, a young man in front of them who wears a t-shirt that says, Give blood. Blake Rugby tosses packages of potato chips and nachos, jars of mayonnaise and mustard onto the counter for the girl to check. Settling in for the weekend, asked the checkout girl who wears a jaunty jacket of red and white stripes and a red bow tied around her white collar. She snapped her bubble gum as she makes out his bill. Now, my girl's friends bringing her parents to dinner. I'm gonna cook for them, he explained. I've been cleaning the apartment and now I'm going to go home to cook the dinner. Gee, she says tonelessly. That's awesome. It is Mrs. Patton's turn next, and Aaron helps her arrange all her purchases on the counter for the girl to check. Having made out a bill so long that it curls around her hand, she suddenly eyes Mrs. Patton with close interest and demands, You pregnant? Arun is so startled that he heads backward and flushes crimson. Mrs. Patton is brought to a halt. At my age, she cries. The girl is not disconcerted. She goes back to snapping her gum and feels for change in the change drawer. You aren't that old, she assures. Mr. Patton kindly handing her some coins. You had that glow, the kind that pregnant women have. I see a lot of them here, so I can just tell. Thought you had that glow. Then she loses interest in Mrs. Patton and turns to say hi to a younger mother who lays her baby on top of bags of diapers and rolls of toilet paper, and it is unloading her car with half moons of perpetuation standing her pink t-shirt even in the cold of air conditioner. Koyoko, the checkout girl says to the baby. Bet you are daddy, darling. It's a boy, the tired mother informs her, and I am a single parent. Mrs. Patton and Arun silently wheel their loaded car out of the parking lot. Arun helps her unload it. He cannot bring himself even to look at her. He sees her finger trembling a little as she lifts out the heavy grocery bags. When they have strapped themselves into the car seats, which smell of scorched rubber and feel like sticky tar, she says in a dry, cracked voice, Did you ever hear anything so silly? Aaron shakes his head but dares not to speak. That girl, she's just the silliest creature I have ever met. Can you beat it? Mr. Patton is driving too fast. The car is veering in and out of the traffic dangerously. I mean, do I look pregnant? Her voice rises in anxiety. I'm not fat. Am I, Arun? He shakes his head and mumbles. She is not fat, only shapeless. The slacks and t-shirts she habitually wears divide her shapelessness into different segments and bring them together in a piece that is so lacking in singularity that it is surprising it could occur to anyone to comment on it. The car bounds forward as if it were being chased. Mrs. Patton gives a strange little laugh. Oh, young, she adds. Am I, Arun? Then swerves suddenly to avoid the bumper of a loaded pig pan that she has ignored till the last possible second. It bears a sticker that says, Like Mike driving, 1 308 sheets, and its driver lets out a lot of hoot of warning. Aaron finds himself saying shakily, "Slow down, please, Mr. Patton." Mrs. Patton.